Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome back to another Theorizer reaction. This is Zelda Spirit Tracks Theory. Oh, goody. So, a couple of things. One, this is another suggestion I got from my Discord server. This was suggested by Keyflame626, and Spirit Tracks Theory, oh god, honestly, out of all the Zelda games I've ever played, I mean, for obvious reasons, Spirit Tracks has got to be my favorite game. Mainly because, one, it was the first one I ever completed, and two, again, for rather obvious reasons, I wonder, do I still own Zelda Spirit Tracks? Because I remember, like, years ago, I did the stupid thing, and I remember selling a lot of my old DS games to GameStop, or EB Games as it was known at the time up here. I wonder. Nope, looks like I don't have it anymore. That sucks. And as I said before, it was like the first one I ever actually beat, and probably thinking it's probably like one of the few I actually ever have beaten, because I've played so few of them. Like, there are Spirit Tracks, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's literally every Zelda game I've ever played. I think the only other one I ever actually completed was Twilight Princess. It just for the, like, the absurdity of, you know, having the sorcery sort of, like, fantasy world of Legend of Zelda, and then, like, having trains, you know, appear in them. Which, I mean, thinking about, you know, the other games that came before it, I mean, you had, what were they? So you had the one you had the two in the boat, one that was sailing. Was that Phantom Hourglass, or was that the second one? Okay, that was it. So it was Wind Waker, then Phantom Hourglass, then Spirit Track. Which, I mean, you gotta love the progression there of just how technology progressed in that universe as opposed to any of the other ones. Where it starts off like in the first game there, you know, you're traveling around in an admittedly magic, you know, sailing ship. Then in the second one, you're in a you're in a boat that's like steam powered and has paddle wheels and stuff like that. And then the third one, when the ocean goes away, you're in a train. I mean, I just love that. And it's like none of this weird like magitech or anything that you see in like the Zroni tech that you see in like God, what is it called? I'm having a complete brain fart here. Tears of the Kingdom, that's it. No, it's just good old-fashioned steam power. And like, just sticking on like the whole like train thing, I know, given that I'm a massive foamer, that, you know, I can get kind of, you know, nitpicky when it comes to, you know, the design of trains in games, especially when, you know, the train isn't the main focus, and they may or may not have been designed by somebody who actually knows anything about them. But at the same time, I like, what is it? The two that I really like are like the first one you get, the one that's like wood, where it has like the, where it's like an 024, and then the big metal one you get, because those are my two favorite. I'm forgetting what their names are, and I don't want to waste time looking up their names at the moment, because it's not really important. What is important is that we have a theory here that came out several months ago by the Theorizer about Zelda Spirit Tracks, and I want to see what it's about, and want to see what kind of weird wackiness he's going to be talking about, because knowing Theorizer, it's going to be a trip. So, yeah, I guess with all that out of the way, we should probably get this thing started then, shall we? So, of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. And if you like this video or any other one that I put out, I would very much appreciate it if you gave it a like and subscribe to my channel. You know all that stuff helps in the YouTube algorithm, and I'm very much hoping to hit 5,000 subscribers sometime this year. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
Where is the missing Zelda game between Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks? There's a whole story here waiting to be told. A Wind Waker sequel starring Link, the pirates, and even Linebeck, but Spirit Tracks takes place 100 years after it's supposed to. What happened in the story gap? Where is the lore? Well, I think I found it. Using very detailed observation and analysis, I have structured what I think the missing Zelda game would reveal in what could very well be Nintendo's best release ever. They could release this at any time and it would bring these forgotten characters to so many new fans with a Wind Waker engine by simply bridging the full, unanswered plot gap between Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. What do we know for certain? Well, the DS games take place after the Wind Waker, the game where you sailed on a boat above flooded Hyrule. It ended with you destroying Hyrule for good and sailing off to a new land. Phantom Hourglass takes place during this voyage. Spirit Tracks takes place long after this voyage, but what happens right after it? Well, the backstory of Spirit Tracks. Let's break this into 3 big chunks. The story of the humans when they found the land, the story of the demons that lived there beforehand, and the many, many, many secrets found in details Spirit Tracks has to offer. Think back to what exactly they said in the game. The Wind Waker pirates struck land, and they established a new kingdom of Hyrule. The natives of this land consisted of Gorons, Anuki, and a few humans, all watched over by the Locomos, who were the servants of spirit gods. The problem was that this land had once been tormented by a demon king, so they locked him beneath the land and strapped him down with massive chains across the middle. The central lock is a tower, the chains became railroads, and the 4 temples hold it down.
Oh god, just thinking back, all of this is coming back to me after so many years of not playing Spirit Tracks. And I had honestly forgotten that the special spirits in that game were called the Locomos. Like, that is the stupidest thing, but I love it.
The pirates settled the world, and a couple generations later the game begins. We meet a new Link, as well as Tetra's descendant, who's the current Princess Zelda. The Demon King is secretly being freed by his butler and a rogue Locomo, so the duo rip Zelda's soul from her body and cram the king inside for more power. Throughout the game, Ghost Zelda accompanies you on a train around the land, rejuvenating the chain tracks with a pan flute and fortifying the temples to recapture the Demon King. He does possess the body, but in the end, they narrowly succeed, destroy him outright, and all of the Locomos ascend. Happy ending, but many questions to answer. First of all, the pirates. My assumption is that they came sailing in from the south. Of course, the ocean rim makes sense for a number of reasons, such as the furthest edge of the land having a replica of the Phantom Hourglass temple that they would have just been fresh out of. But there's also a candidate in the forest realm being their arrival point, because they make a big point of that being where Link's hometown is, named in some variations after his Wind Waker home. It's so important that they hide the giant demon portal right behind it at the end of the game. This spot is also just south of the main castle, with the native tribes being further north in the mountains. Okay, it all makes sense. So the pirates venture in, commit insane inbreeding that I'll cover in a future video, and then they meet the Locomo spirit servants. Notice...
Well, I mean, potentially. There's the whole thing that, you have, like, descendants that look exactly like their forebearers. But at the same time, like, who's saying that they just started, like, their starting population was literally just, the pirate crew, and that's how they started the kingdom? As you've seen in previous games, there are other islands that are populated. You could have, like, oh, we discovered this new land, set up a bit of a community, and then had people go back, tell people about, oh, we found this whole new continent with lots of living space, lots of resources, come with us and move there and we'll found a new kingdom and stuff like that. I can very much believe that, given how this game handles, like, descendants looking exactly like their forebearers, because again, like, Link, the Link that you play as in these games is in no way related to the previous Link. He's just some random Joe Schmo that, puts on the green tunic. The only one out of the pair that is literally related to the previous ones is Princess Zelda. And again, it's that whole weird family tradition of always naming daughters Zelda. So she's like Zelda the, like, 450th or something.
That's how these guys move around on wheels like trains, and the word Locomo is a pun on locomotive.
Yeah.
Trains. But it doesn't stop there. Oh no. Anjean is a pun of engine. Makes sense. She's the leader of the core and serves the tower itself. Her companions are named Gauge, Carbon, Steam, Embers, Rail, Burn. It is everything. And even crazier, let's not forget Cole. Another pun, another short character, but it...
So, I mean, out of all of this just goes to prove one thing, and that is that steam locomotives were gifts from the gods, and we must treat them with respect that they rightly deserve.
A demon. So my question is, which came first, the chicken or the egg? See, the implication from the timeline is that the Locomos existed before the trains, and thus the trains themselves, human creations, were inspired by and based off of these beings. It would mean that people saw the chains and made railroads on them, inspired by the wheelchair people. It would all be backwards. They're bound to their chairs. It can't be the other way around. But let's look at the demons for confirmation of this. Who are they exactly? I think that the Demon King himself, Malladus, was once a powerful spirit. I believe this not just because it's poetic and similar to the Path of Burn, but mainly because there are numerous other, quote, demons in this game that are directly correlated to the spirit stuff. Skeldrich, an ancient demon, protects the Bow of Light that can defeat Malladus. It's hidden in a room beneath his arena, a room that emanates the Locomo music. The Compass of Light is made of spirit energy, yet it tracks down the demon train. And Jean claims that the phantoms in the tower were made by her masters and are merely possessed by evil spirits, meaning that there is such a thing as an evil spirit. In this game, the spirits are another word for gods, interestingly. Also to note, the space-time gates made by the spirits share a similar portal design scheme to the one used to enter the Dark Realm. If they are the same
just
entities,
they're yellow
I
instead of green.
imagine Malladus grew too strong, as Byrne claimed, and had to be dealt with. He was probably the latest incarnation of that demise curse, hence the rebirth of Link and Zelda all over again in the 100-year time gap. This also makes sense given Cole's role, as he is short, much like an anti-Angine, like a Locomo of the Dark Realm, if you will.
And you know he's evil because he doesn't have wheels.
Malladus would be the spirit, and his direct servant is Cole, although now I'm beginning to wonder if maybe it was Byrne's task to keep a lid on the Dark Realm, which explains his color scheme, and why he was so easily corrupted, and why Cole is so mad at him having ever even served the spirits, meaning, yeah, Byrne would be the Dark Realm Locomo. He has unique instrumentals, he has a mechanical device like they do, and gears on his clothing, so on. Cole, on the other hand, is certainly something. He has a killer theme song that could very well be his instrument of choice, but it's still pretty unclear given his comments. Maybe he was the original Locomo, and Byrne was tasked with that being the apprentice. As for the Dark Realm itself, this is juicy. It seems to be a warped, alternate plane of the same physical location that the portal takes us to, which is to say just south of Link's hometown.
Which, I mean, again, you gotta love that the fact that one of the phases of the final boss of this game is a giant, evil, demonically possessed train, or even just demon train. You're like, I love it. This game, it's a reason it was one of my favorites, and now the more I think about it, the more I'm upset with my past self for selling it. Ah!
It seems to be less a realm, more a black hole emitting toxic dimensionality, if that makes sense.
The dimensionality.
So my theory would be that Byrne got in contact with the disgraced Locomo Cole and freed him from his smaller subterranean prison. If I could guess where this was, I'd say probably the giant chasm that serves no purpose in the final game. Like when they say under the ground, they literally mean under the ground, like in the abyss beneath the tower where Malladus is. Once Cole is freed, Byrne uses the tower's power to create the Compass of Light to track down the demon train, which is where our paradox comes full circle. At first I thought, hey, is this supposed to be Cole's wheelchair on steroids? But no, it seems to almost be Malladus himself. He is limited to this form because he's still chained down and can only take control remotely through his chains. But the key question, is he making a mockery of the trains that they put on his chains, or is this the original form that he used to traverse his locked land, and they base trains off of him doing this? Well, it's still unclear. Malladus certainly corrupts other human engines and makes them his own, but I genuinely think that all of these entities came first. There's just too much absurdity to assume that they all changed their names into puns. So
God, again, the fact that, again, I'm sorry I'm holding on to this, but the thought that again, it was one of those things I never really thought about or realized when I played the game back then. But I never connected the dots into thinking that, in this universe, like, trains weren't just like a creation of like an industrial revolution or something like that. They were literally, humans mimicking the creations of the gods. And I love that.
Once these two get the compass, they find the demon train, and over 100 years, Burn snaps railways off the land while Cole infiltrates the royal family to get close to the vessel of Zelda that they so desire. This leads to the events of the game. Everything happens, and when they destroy the demon train and strike the core of Malladus with the spirit's power, the entire corrupted landscape ceases to corrupt and collapses back down into the boring little island it truly was. So that's a rough little timeline on the spirits and demons with some theories sprinkled in. This would theoretically be the spiritual side of the game, but the human side is also of great interest.
Yeah, it's kind of important.
And I have some very important points to make on this today. As you progress through spirit tracks, you start to receive force gems from helping people. When you complete a mission for a side character who's particularly grateful, their gratitude crystallizes due to the nature of spirits and emotion in the world of the game. See, the Demon King could break the chains, but the spirits can rejuvenate them here and there whenever someone overflows with spirit to the point where their emotion becomes physical. To put it simply, when you help someone, their happiness turns into a force gem before your very eyes, and a bunch of train tracks reappear somewhere in the world. What interests me, though, is whose gratitude rejuvenates which tracks. My understanding is that we'd get to see these stations being built in a theoretical prequel game. So here's a little rundown. I say little, but I'm going to go through every single force gem. So brace
wonderful.
yourself,
Okay, here we go.
I'm about to lose my mind. I'm recording this late at night. Carbon gives you access to a space-time gate in the southeast corner of the forest realm, which teleports you to the snow realm. This makes some sense, a little random, but it's a fairly close gate off the edge of the ocean that connects up to another Locomo. Next, a woman in Papichia village is so grateful for you bringing her a new husband from Whittleton that her gratitude crystallizes some shortcut tracks between her village and his. The rabbit man's wife has gratitude for being brought to him, and nearby tracks crystallize. The little boy who wants to visit the skies crystallizes the shortcut of near the pond near the castle. Maybe he visited there on vacation. The Inuki, who need fresh water for his ice, grants a shortcut to the new location you end up taking him. The Goron, who needs access to his home, gives you a path to the nearby desert. The fish buyer grants you the shortcut back to the fish cellar. The chicken buyer gives you tracks through a nearby cave. The woodcutters give you a path to the north, but then things start to get interesting. When you get a fence built for the Inuki, they give you an access to a secret train station up behind the Snow Temple where you can do some fun mini-games based directly on the Snow Temple's puzzles like slippery ice, boomerang, cold fire nonsense, ultimately rewarding you with a priceless treasure. So who built this place? There's many stations like this around, and Zelda once asks who built them. I used to think it was the Phantom Hourglass Link who built them as trials for a future Link, but no, there's no evidence for it. I think the answer to this one is clear. It's whoever built the temple. Spirits or Locomos, I suppose. This station is a diet temple to test people before the big deal. At worst, it's just the Inuki trying to recreate the temple, but there's more like this. The Snow Realm's Locomo, Steam, wants a nice big vase, so when you get it from the crazy fortune lady at Papichia, he grants you access to the Slippery Station, a secret minigame based entirely around ice sliding trials. The signs have a tone that is much more jovial and athletic, implying it can very well have been created by the Inuki and not the Locomo. It's strange, then, that Steam's gratitude opens it up, suggesting he's responsible, but he moves on wheels, not skates. You are granted another priceless treasure, though, which helps create the golden spirit train that gives you more life, so it's likely that this place was made by the spirits to prepare you for the other preparation, but was augmented by the Inuki as a fun game because they are the natives of the land. But we're looking for human angles too. So next you swap the Gorons and Inuki, and they both give you some connection tracks to their respective locations with portals and such, one of which trails over the chasm. The little Goron kid, probably the elder's grandson, also wants to go somewhere, to Hyrule Castle in fact, to meet Zelda, but is met with the demented fish lady sassing her f***ing ass off, yet he still grants you access to the mysterious disorientation station. It's a spot where there's an endless maze puzzle to get in the priceless stone from the gods, and 2 Hyrule Castle guards who got lost and died up there. You know what the implication of this is, right? It was the little Goron that sent them on a wild goose chase, and now he's at the castle back for more. God help us all. Next, the fish merchant needs ice, and she grants you access to the pirate's base of operations, which is sus of her. When you kill the pirates and save the man inside, he grants you access to what is in all likelihood where he was captured. The Sand Locomo wants chickens for reasons, and grants you access to a desert this way in the northeasternmost corner of the world where there's a mysterious block puzzle game that requires the mystical sand wand to play. This is clear. Rail made it.
So, I mean, yeah, so some of those were made, logical sense, the shortcut between, the woman and the husband and stuff like that. But now I'm thinking, we are, like the only in the game, the only engine we ever see driven, by a person is, our train. Otherwise, the other ones that we see, like the trolleys that get corrupted, we never see who's driving those. We never see if it was just humans driving those. So I'm almost wondering, like, maybe it wasn't, like, the humans who moved there that built the trains first. Maybe at first it was the native inhabitant. Because it would make sense that, since that was their homeland, they would, utilize, the spirit tracks to change whatever they are, to their to a more extent. And then, just humans came by, colonized and settled, and then, they adapted the local technology? That would be the right term?
He threw sand temple cubes in it, and riches. The architect of this place is quite the whiz, she says. That's it. Finally, Ferris wants to go to the ocean temple underwater, where you can warp or chug there. He grants you access to the dark ore mine, a place filled with mysterious ore that cannot handle sunlight. It's probably related to the chasm or coal or the dark realm. We'll see in the future video. If you fight the monster and get the ore to Linebeck the Third, though, you gain access to the final location of the game, the Lost at Sea Station. This is where the biggest plot line of them all comes in. This is the thing it's been building to. See, this station is the aforementioned replica of the Temple of the Ocean King from Phantom Hourglass, and I have figured something out that makes perfect sense. See, there are phantoms there, clearly possessed by evil spirits, but these allegedly would have been made by the Ocean King, given the nature of the previous game. So here's my bombshell. For his final actions of going above and beyond the call of duty, Linebeck I was not just granted his ship back, but was given riches beyond his wildest imagination.
I mean, that'd
so
be nice
long
of
as
him.
he could keep proving himself. See, the reward at this station is a regal ring, which you can win over and over and over again, as many times as you want. It's an absolutely esteemed treasure that gets you buttloads of cash. It's seen earlier in the game when you need to pay off the bridge worker, and Linebeck III gives you a letter from the original Linebeck, who stashed a regal ring that he owned in some nearby puzzles for his grandson. It goes for a ton of money. It's no coincidence that Linebeck III's gratitude then gives you access to the Lost at Sea Station, where you can find infinite regal rings. It means the original Linebeck faced what was inside, and I believe that was the whole point. He gets his own treasure courtesy of the Ocean King. As long as he can prove himself over and over, it keeps him humble. This is how he eventually learned to love, create a family, and a lasting learning legacy. It would seem with his girlfriend, Jolene. These are the echoes of the world of the Ocean King. That is a beautiful homage to the deep lore. It also solidifies this being the arrival point from Tetra's crew and Linebeck himself. Imagine playing this. Imagine playing a game with all of these stations being built. Imagine playing and seeing Linebeck's journey come full circle. Imagine the war between spirits and demons, and the hero wins final task of sealing Maldus. Answers. Oh, the satisfaction. The backstories of the stations are found in those who unlock them. We have a timeline of spirits, demons, some humans, the mystery stations, and a bunch of unexpected Linebeck lore. But as I said, we still have to cover the family tree and inbreeding.
Yeah, of course. Oh god, right,
truly?
this part,
How is present Link tied in? Could his father be the blonde training guard? What does Nico know? How does the bunny guy have a swordsman scroll? And the bombshell? Cole's history with the royal family. Because God in heaven, I'm dead-ass certain this motherfucker killed Tetra to become Chancellor. Legit.
Really?
This is all something we'd be playing through in a game. Nintendo, why can't you make this god-tier game? More people want this. Just do it properly. I mean, I'll eventually get around to the Phantom Hourglass side of this lore as well, and the humans, but I don't usually make video game theories, so spur it by subscribing.
Oh god. Again, gotta absolutely love it. And thinking back, just through this entire video, like, I'm remembering a lot of the fun little interactions. And my absolute favorite was, like, near the beginning, just after Zelda loses her body. And, like, she's in her ghost form, and she's, going manic because, she just lost her body and she's a ghost now. And she's telling, like, like, go on the adventure, like, save the world, get my body back. I'll be here waiting for you. Princesses usually do that. It's a family tradition. Like just how manic she was getting in that one point, like telling him it's like I'm gonna stay here. It's what we princesses do. Oh God, absolutely love it. It was beautiful. Oh God, and like thinking back, like again with me being a little kid, like when did Spirit Tracks come out? Like how old would I have been at the time? Yeah, so I mean, 2009, I would have been 14 when it first came out. And just, thinking about it, like, especially, I have never been good at, like, especially when I was very young, I was never good at, like, paying attention to lore. Like, I'd pay attention to tutorials on, like, how to play things, but, like, most of the time, I would just kind of skip through and just like, oh, I want to get back to the game, that sort of thing. And I never connected the dots that, they're called the Locomos, and, all of their names are like puns and stuff like that. And I had completely forgotten that the tracks themselves were literally the chains locking the spirit in the underground and stuff like that. And I absolutely love it, and I want to play this game again so badly. The only problem is that I'd probably have to buy it off eBay, and it's going to be expensive. Oh, God. Child me was such an idiot. Oh. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. So yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. So yeah, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.